Her great-uncle Edward had done the same thing a century ago. On the next Fresh Air, what she discovered about his life and the secret that broke her family in half. Join us. Weekdays at 2 on WNYC.
Coming up in just about 10 minutes, it's the BBC News Hour, so let's check in and see what our friends in London are working on. Hello, BBC.
Good morning, WNYC. I'm James Menendez. Today on NewsHour, Ukraine has carried out a long-range drone strike on St. Petersburg as Russia hosts an international economic forum. We'll hear from the city. Also, is weight training rather than cardio the best way to reduce the risk of an early death? That's BBC NewsHour at 9 on WNYC.
Well, we're looking for a high near 83 degrees today with plenty of sunshine, clear tonight, a low of 63. And then that is going to be the same story here into Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Rain moving into the forecast potentially on your Sunday. But until then, just warming up. 90s by Friday and Saturday. Right now, 69 degrees with a clear sky.
The Tariff Roller Coaster.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Amazon Business, featuring smart business buying AI tools to help navigate business purchases paired with delivery options built for business. AmazonBusiness.com. And by Intuit QuickBooks, integrating payroll, time tracking, human resources, and more in one connected system. More at QuickBooks.com/workforce.
From Marketplace, I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer in Washington. The Trump administration is proposing new tariffs on 60 countries to partially replace the ones struck down by the Supreme Court in February. This comes a day after the president lowered tariffs on some agricultural and manufacturing machinery. Marketplace's Nova Safo has the details.
The U.S. Trade Representative's office says it has completed probes into 60 countries looking at forced labor violations. It wants to impose tariffs of 10% or 12.5%. Among the countries involved, Mexico, Canada, China, and the European Union. There will be exceptions for some products, including rare earths and pharmaceuticals. The Trump administration has been seeking to rebuild its global tariffs under new authorities after the Supreme Court invalidated the use of emergency powers. One of the most direct legal pathways available is unfair trade practices investigations. I'm Nova Safo for Marketplace.
Alphabet, the parent company of Google, is doing something it hasn't done in 20 years, offering new equity in the company. It plans to sell $80 billion worth of stock and use the money to invest in, you guessed it, AI. Big tech is expected to spend more than $700 billion on AI infrastructure this year, and the spending spree is hitting a turning point, consuming almost all of the revenues these companies bring in. Marketplace's Megan McCarty-Carino has more.
Before the AI era, Alphabet, Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta were basically cash printing machines. They made so much more money than they spent, they regularly bought back their own stock, giving billions to their shareholders, says Jacob Bourne, a tech analyst at eMarketer.
These were the biggest cash giants of the modern economy, and now in just a matter of a couple years, that's changing.
He says their free cash flow, the amount of revenue left over after infrastructure investments, is dwindling. Amazon is already burning more cash than it makes, and Meta will likely follow later this year. If current patterns hold, Alphabet could see spending exceed revenues next year, says Daniel Newman at Futurum Group.
Every one of these businesses is firmly under the belief that if they don't spend, that there is a existential risk to their business's longevity.
To continue blazing ahead in the AI race, tech companies have moved beyond spending revenues, relying on corporate bonds, joint ventures with private creditors, and now equity offerings to ratchet up the spending.
It's this sort of aggressive prisoner's dilemma of we will not be outspent.
The stock market has largely rewarded these moves, says business professor Eric Gordon at the University of Michigan. But he warns the mood could change.
You got to get some kind of return on that money. And when the money that you've put in is that big, you got to get a lot of money back.
Investors are going to want to see that AI can be a cash printing machine, too. I'm Megan McCarty-Carino for Marketplace.
Let's do the numbers. The Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ futures are mixed in the 2 to 0.5% range, with the Dow future down 231 points. The 10-year Treasury yield is down at 4.49%.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Revenued, providing working capital for businesses' cash flow needs. Approvals based on revenue, not credit, and funds available in a day at getrevenued.com. And by GEP, helping companies navigate global supply chain challenges through procurement and supply chain strategy services and its AI-native platform, GEP Quantum Intelligence. And by 3-Day Blinds, designing and installing custom window treatments, including motorized options. Online bookings and more at 3dayblinds.com.
In the late 1990s, figure skating was one of the most watched sports in America. There were competing tours, made-for-TV specials, and household names like Michelle Kwan. Skating has lost some of its mainstream popularity, but that might be about to change, as Oregon Public Broadcasting's Lillian Karabake explains.
Inside Portland's Memorial Coliseum, a sold-out crowd of figure skating fans are on their feet for Stars on Ice. The skating tour is seeing record turnout that hasn't happened for decades. After Team USA's gold at the Olympics in Milan, interest in figure skating is at its peak. And that can mean dollars.
In that Olympic year, it's really an opportunity for athletes to get a lot of new eyes and perspectives on them and hopefully leverage that into financial opportunities.
That's Olympic ice dancer Evan Bates. He has seen this over the 5 Olympics he's competed in, but
this time feels different. I think, of course, the success of Team USA is unprecedented and huge, and we have the names and the personalities to hopefully keep people coming back for more.
Bates took home 2 medals from Milan with his partner and wife, Madison Chalk.
I want to just seize the opportunities that come around once every 4 years.
But the window for those big-name sponsorships is typically short in a niche sport like figure skating. Figure skating analyst Jackie Wong says this Olympic cycle produced something the sport hasn't seen: breakout mainstream appeal in Alyssa Liu and Ilya Malinin.
They both have a kind of star quality that American audiences really like.
And they're both cashing in. Malinin is sponsored by Coca-Cola, Samsung, and Google, among others. Liu won 2 gold medals in Milan and became the only figure skater signed with Nike.
Elite skaters in the U.S. are trying to figure out, how do I finish wringing out the marketability of this kind of short attention span period where they are known?
The skating world is hoping that this Olympic bounce lasts longer than just a few months. Backstage at Stars on Ice, producer Byron Allen said he's optimistic that this is the boost the sport needs to bring it back to its 90s heyday.
The more marketable talent you've got, the more marketable a show you have. And we haven't had this kind of star power in a long time.
Allen says tours like this are also an investment in skating's future. Learn to Skate programs usually see about a 10% bump in enrollment after the Olympics. But United States Figure Skating estimates that's closer to 30% this year.
My job is to create the next generation of stars.
And maybe one of those athletes will be as marketable and likable as this generation. In Portland, I'm Lillian Karabake for Marketplace.
And in Washington, I'm Nancy Marshall-Genzer with the Marketplace Morning Report from APM, American Public Media.